Good morning, everybody. All my RST2603 students. I am Michelle Glasgow-Johnson. I'm going to be lecturing you this semester. Okay, first mystery. If you're watching this in the second semester, sometime in July, you'll be wondering, why is this guy wearing such loose summery clothing? Because it's still January back here. When I make a video and I think it's still valid 6 months later, I just schedule it to come up again. Now, obviously, if something new has shown up, then you'll be seeing me in the thick winter woolies. Okay, that mystery solved. Now, you've chosen to study cults and contemporary religious movements. Great decision. This is our most popular module after the second year. So, let's just dive straight in. You should have in front of you Dot Letter 101, a study guide, and a reader. If any one of those three is missing, you find the contact details of the Department of Dispatch and you start harassing them because you need them. The 101 and the study guide should be downloadable from my UNISA. At the moment, it's only available in English, but don't tell anybody. I've got an Afrikaans version that I can send you. Drop me a line, okay? If you really want one. I didn't say that. No, I know nothing. What? Right. So, what are we going to do now? If your reader is missing, I do have emergency procedures that I can activate. In other words, I've got a message in draft form on my UNISA saying exactly where you can get most of this thing, at least semi-legal fashion. Now, this is probably going to be the last year that we use the reader, because I'm moving this module online and I'm going to be using open access material, and that will make things a little bit more agile. But for now, this year 2017, we're using a reader. In the reader you will find photocopies of articles that you have to read. These are scientific articles. They're pretty high quality stuff. They're a bit old now. And yes, you do have to read them carefully. That is your study material. Now, not first year anymore. You're becoming senior students now. You should be able to read material like that and extract from it. Okay, let's have a look at your study guide. If you move to Study Unit 1, Introduction and Terminology, let's see. You see learning outcomes. Now, you might be tempted to just skip that, say, learning outcomes, what's that? Not important. And you'd be very wrong. Because I'm going to let you into a little secret. When I set up an exam paper for this module, I take learning outcomes from each module and I rephrase them as questions. Now, sometimes the outcome is a little small and I combine two. Sometimes the outcome is too big for 10 points and I take half of it. But my exam questions are directly derived from the learning outcomes. Because if you can meet those learning outcomes, then you have fulfilled the objectives of the module and I have to pass you. Now, passing well with distinction is a different matter. That takes a little more. But if you prepare those learning outcomes, you will pass. Simple as that. Okay, so let's read through the ones in. After working through this study unit, you should be able to distinguish and describe the characteristics of a church and a sect. Right, so what does that mean? It means you have to be able to tell me who thought up these terms. Right? And there we have it in section 1.2.1, Weber and Troeltsch. These are sociologists of religion, and they thought up these terms. Right, and there's another term in here. Let's see, where is it? Denomination. Where is it there? Cult. Right. So another term you should look up is denomination, right, which is like a church, but not quite as universal. Right. So the medieval Catholic Church was a church. Okay, so in the sense of the word, another way to say it is to use the Latin ecclesia. Wow, that sounds good. Ecclesia. Latin always sounds better. So we're talking about a church as something that's universal in a society. Everybody belongs to it. Right? And we haven't had that situation since the Middle Ages in Western society. However, there are countries where there still is a religious organization that everybody belongs to, or else, these are not necessarily nice places to live in. Because in the Western world, and most of Africa as well, there are many rival organizations. Right? You have Baptists, Anglicans, Methodists, you name it. And the same in other religions. And you are free to choose which one. For that we use the term denomination. So if you take, say, the Methodists, they are a denomination, they're respectable, they're a small part of all of society. Now, what happens if you become a radical Methodist? You want your vision of Methodism to be applied and nobody else's. Well, then you start a sect. And you have to be very careful to pronounce that T when you use the plural. Sect. Okay, so then you start something, let's call it a radical Methodists. Right? As time goes by, the radical Methodists, also start saying, maybe the founder was a bit too enthusiastic, and we'll just water it down a little bit here and there. 100 years later, the radical Methodists are just another denomination. They're safe, they're predictable, but for those 100 years they were a sect. But they were still coming from the mainstream of what is religion in that society. Right. So, what if you introduce a religion that is way out, weird, wacky, that has nothing to do with the mainstream? Then you got a cult. Now this is a technical term, and we still use it. However, people who are not professional scholars of religion have also used it, and the word has now gathered too many negative connotations. Right? And so we have said, listen, we need a more neutral term. We need a way to talk about these movements without using this very negative term. So we came up with new religious movements, which is so neutral, it's positively boring, right? And the short form of that is NRM's. Afrikaans Nuwe Religieuze Bewegings, which sounds even more boring. But that's where we are. And right. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. And next time we'll analyze this term, new religious movements. I think it's worthwhile in these videos to really take our time with the first unit. Trust me, when we get to Unit 9, it's going to be, hey, okay guys, just learn it, okay? But these are the basics, so let's spend some time on it. Okay, see you next time.